Hi everyone, my name is BJ. I'm so glad to be with you today to share my devotion. And today we're going to talk about Matthew 5:3. Blessed is the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. And there's three areas, ideas I want to share with you today, sort of from my own life that I hope can be applicable to yours. But the three areas are honesty, humility, and trust. Poor in spirit. You know, when I think about that, that's something where I want to get to that point. Sometimes I think I'm a little bit rich in spirit, too rich for what Jesus is looking for. And here's what I mean by that. I'm talking about pride. Pride is an area that we all deal with. It manifests itself in different ways. But I remember the first time I really had to work through pride was when I was in my 20s, and I bought the best car I could possibly imagine buying as a young 20-year-old, Mitsubishi 2003 Lancer. Man, I just need to take a moment right now and think about how beautiful that car was. It was my favorite car. It was zippy, it looked great. But you know what? That car put me in a world of debt. For years I had to fight out of the debt because of that car. And when I look at why I purchased that car, it was all about pride. You know, a few weeks ago, Pastor David talked about shame, and that was my deal. I was ashamed of the car I was already driving. It was a 1990 Volkswagen Fox, and I was ashamed that it didn't have air conditioning. I was ashamed that the paint was peeling. I was ashamed that it required a manual choke to start. Those were all reasons why I was ashamed of that car. And so in my pride, I purchased something that was more expensive than I could afford. You know, when I think about my own spiritual poverty, I like to deny that it's there. I like to deny that I have any need for God's riches, His righteousness in my life. And maybe that's something you can relate to. You see, that leads to something we all need to understand when it comes to fighting our pride. It's humility. It's the humility in realizing that on our own, we are not good enough. On our own, we cannot live a life that is free of pride. We actually could try harder and fall into a deeper pit of pride. It's not until we can land in trust, which is my third point, trusting that Jesus has it covered. You see, when we trust that Jesus can take our weakness and make it perfect in His strength, that's when the whole world opens up to us. And here's what it looks like. Instead of needing a new car, I'm content with the car I have. Or let's go a little bit deeper. You know, one of the things I work on all the time when it comes to pride is needing people's approval. And what if I could give my trust to Jesus and say, instead of needing people's approval, I already have yours. I don't need someone to tell me that my work was good enough. All I need to do is my best. And then Jesus will take care of the rest. So today, as you contemplate your week, maybe there's areas that you might want to step into that you can be honest with Jesus and say, I need you to take this area of my life, this pride, and change it into something that is humble and good and pleasing to you. You can trust Jesus, you can trust God with that. And I urge you to do that today, because on the other side of that is freedom and joy found in living the life that God has given us. Thanks.